Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to 24 Hour Miniatures. So today I'd like to do another hobby update. Today is October the 6th, 2022. So sorry I missed the hobby update last week, guys. For those of you that have been following the channel for a little while, I've been trying to do these updates weekly, but due to the video that I put out yesterday about the Mk4 roundup, that video took me much longer to record and to finish than I was expecting it to, and I had to re-record it several times because Privateer kept releasing new updates, or I'd have chat discussions that would cause me to need to update some of the things I was going to be talking about. But here we are, and while I haven't gotten a ton of stuff done in the last week, the week before I actually finished quite a lot, and so I have a lot to share with you guys. So let's start with some of the stuff that I've finished in the last 2 weeks. So if you follow me on Instagram, and you can find me at 24 Hour Miniatures on Instagram, today, or last night, I posted a bunch of pictures of models that I'd finished painting in the month of September. So first things first, for the last several weeks I've been playing Mercenaries, and so I finished this unit of Thorn Gun Mages for my Lely's Resistance Mercenary Army for Mk3. Now, unfortunately, these guys are probably going to be unlimited going forward, but I'm trying to get a lot of my stuff that is probably just going to go on a shelf and sit in a display cabinet for a while done, while also working on things here and there that I'll be able to use going forward in the future in Mk4. So here's these guys, and then here's the unit leader. This guy is pretty cool. I will say the most annoying thing about him is this spot on the back of his hat that no matter what I do, chips immediately. He's got all kinds of sealer coat on him and everything, and no matter what I does, that chip just chips immediately as soon as something touches it. But yep, so there's them. I was able to get 2 new Warcasters done, Magnus 1 and Magnus 2. This is the Magnus 2 mini crate model. He's based on Ash from Evil Dead. Pretty sweet. And then this is your classic Magnus 1 model from the original release of a Mercenary Warcaster back in Mark 1. Really, really, really cool. I also got these two. Shaw and Rossi. These guys are partners from the role-playing game. They started out as role-playing miniatures that eventually made it into the mercenary armies. They give each other... He gives her tough and she gives him dodge while they're within command of each other. Very cool. She's another gun mage, Lily's gun mage, and which is why she has the purple cloak. And he's just a regular Signarin adventurer, but he's a weapon master and a jack marshal. To finish out my Lily's contingent, I got 4 more models completed. So this is Harrison Gibbs, who is a Lily's trencher. So he was a cook in the Signarin Trencher Legion, originally from Lale, and when they originally departed after Khador's invasion, he was left behind, and he found a trencher officer's uniform, put it on, and started a resistance. And because he's a cook, he has a rule called hot meal, which he can basically cook up the cat that's on his base, and the cat comes with the model. And I've magnetized it on a Khadoran shield. I can remove the cat from his base, and he cook it up, and he heals all friendly warrior models in his command. And he gives friendly Lely's models within his command Repo 3, which is pretty sweet. This is Steelhead Sergeant Nicholas Vellendier, I believe. He's a Steelhead character, but also a Lely's model, and so he works for the Lely's Resistance theme. Really fun, cool model to paint. Very, very nice. And he's in the green scheme, which I really love. I really need to get a unit of Steelheads for him to lead. I have some stuff that I've been proxying, but I don't have an actual unit of Steelheads right now. It's one of the things that's on my to-do list, because Steelheads is one of the first armies that's going to be playable in Mark IV for Mercenaries. This is Ragman. He's a Lele's model. He's sort of a Lele's debuff sorcerer. Pretty cool. And then I'm spacing on her name right now, but she's a an assassin and a scout. She has ambush and can throw her knives, and it's pretty cool. So those were some cool infantry models I finished. But the real meat of what I finished in the, I guess, a little over a week now, is a whole bunch of warjacks for Mercenaries. And I split them up into them in 2 different schemes, and then one character jack that has a little different scheme. So first off, I finished up a large chunk of privateer jacks. I still have to paint the infantry for the army, but the privateer jacks are pretty popular and can be used in both regular mercenary armies and with the privateer models. So I was able to finish up 7 warjacks for privateers, 3 small base and 4 large base. So these 2 are freebooters. These are actually the freebooters that came with Undercity. And as you can see, they have flexible arms, and so they're made with a sort of a rubbery plastic. But they've been rebased on a privateer press base and properly based up. And they're cool, pretty awesome jacks. For 9 points, you get a fast, hard-hitting jack that can knock stuff down and has the special trash, which gives you an extra die against knockdown models. Really cool. This is a Swabber. This is probably the most popular of the newer mercenary jacks that came out with the CID a few years ago. He has shield guard, a shield gun, melee weapons with a shield, and then has a harpoon that he can pull people in. And then, of course, as a privateer jack, he's also amphibious. Really love this model. This model is what inspired me to get these guys painted up. Really, really enjoyed painting him up, and I look forward to getting the rest of the army for him. And privateers are one of the armies that are getting rules for Mark IV in Prime, so definitely see myself maybe playing these guys when I'm not playing my Khador some, because I really like how these models look. This is a Mariner. This is the workhorse privateer jack. He has a 2-inch reach thresher melee weapon and a cannon that he can't fire by himself. He needs to have a warrior model within an inch of him to shoot it, but when he does shoot it, it's range 15, POW 14, AoE 3, which is really nice. And finally, I've got my trio of light jacks. So this is a Buccaneer. This is the old favorite Merc Jack. And these guys are really what inspired the color scheme, figuring out how to get these, this new color scheme that I figured out for the Mercs, for the pirates. I wanted to separate them from the greens, which you'll see in a minute. So this is the Buccaneer. He's got a 2-inch reach gaff, which I think is PS 11. And then he's got a AoE 3 net that can knock models down that it hits, which is really cool. I'm really looking forward to see how his rules are transferred into Mark IV with the new AoE system that they have, is whether or not he just auto knocks down the model he targets, and then if he hits, he gets additional models around him or something. I think that could be a really cool mechanic. Also, there's these 2, and this is a character jack version of this. This is a Swashbuckler, this jack here in my left hand. It has a cutlass and a claw cannon, and it has assault and duelist. So it's a really fun, it's an 8-point little fun combat jack. I've thought about getting a second one just because they're so much fun to play with. And then this is Swabber, who is a character version of this jack, and is Shay's character jack. And he has an axe cannon and an axe. And this cool skeleton skull motif. Very cool, very fun jacks to paint. I like how both of them really turned out very nicely. So moving along with the Merc Jack theme, First up in the green scheme, I have a Mangler. So this is one of the jacks that came in the starter box with this Magnus originally. It's a very cool model, and love this guy. I like to take him on Boss McCorn, which is a real nasty combo. Also from that box are these Renegade Light Jacks. You got one of them with the box originally. I was able to paint two of them up because they're FA2 with Magnus. Very cool jacks. They have a crit shred sustained attack melee weapon, a one-use range 16 PAL 14 AoE 4 gun that knocks down any models that it hits, and they also have an arc node, which is pretty unique for Merc jacks. Finally, and this isn't from that box set, but this is a custom version of the Talon. That is the last jack that was in this box set. The original box set looked like this back in Mark 1. And I've shown him off in WIP form on one of these on a previous hobby update, and so he's finished now, and his base is done. He's looking good. Very cool jack. That model is the original base of that model is from the Undercity box set, like the freebooters were. And then finally, I have this guy. This is a Rover. Very fun jack. It's got shield guard naturally. It's got point blank with his shield gun, and which gives him 3 melee attacks, which is pretty cool. Definitely a alternative to the Mule and the Nomad, which are the other two jacks that are based upon this chassis. Very cool. Moving on. So that's all the stuff that I've gotten painted fully painted in the last 2 weeks. So now I have a couple of projects that I'm working on. The first project is something I'm working on for a friend who, and he's big, massive, and large and in charge and too big for the screen. So this is the Convergence Colossal. I've just gotten him base coated so far. I need to get him washed, start doing some shading and highlighting and some weathering and things. So my friend JR, who this model is for, his scheme is really interesting because he uses this Turbo Dork paint. So here's the paint right here. It's called Matcha, and it has sort of a green gold is sort of the prime color, but you don't paint this color on until the very last step. You sort of base paint it in this green color and build up your layers of shadow highlight, and then you put this on the end, and it makes the green really pop at the end. Let's see if I have an example. I've been playing around with it on some guys, and so not a big surface area, but here on his pack, it's really has an interesting effect to it. I'm enjoying it. And so the funny thing is that I brought it have been loaning it to him to play and use in games. We had a league that just ended this past Tuesday, and he said that he thought that this reminded him of a John Deere tractor, and I was like, oh man, that's awful. And then he's like, no, that's actually what I was going for with my color scheme, which is, I think, hilarious. All right, so then the next thing I have to show off is a long-term project. Most of these models have been sitting around on my painting desk for a while, and they're something that I want to get finished before the start of Mark 4, because Man-O-Wars is going to be Khador's first army in the beta test, and Demo Corps have been my favorite unit for years. I actually had funny story in Mark 1. It took me several years to beat Signar for the first time, and it took having access to Vlad 2, which I'm hoping is one of the casters that will work for Man-O-Wars in Mark 4, and Demo Corps, Man-O-War Demo Corps, to be able to solidify my tactics against Signar and allow me to actually start winning games against them. And so I have this unit that I painted up, and so this model is finished. This is only fully finished model. And this is Sergeant Dragos Degodevich. And he's the character solo that gives them Vengeance and the mini feat Sanguine Bond. And he is... I spent a lot of time on this figure, and I burnt out on the hammers, so the hammers aren't quite as nice as they could be. And so when I finish painting this unit, that I'm going to show you here in a second, I probably will go back. But really, I started this army. This unit came about because I wanted a custom unit of Man-O-War Demo Corps that was sort of his custom unit. And so I've got 5 guys that I've been working on off and on for a little while here. So each one of them is custom and fun. I need to finish them up and get this unit finally done. But with Mark IV around the corner and these medium base units like of Man-O-War and things, probably likely going to three-man units instead of 5 like they are, 3 to 5 like they are now. I had to add a 6th guy, and so just this day or so ago, I was able to get this guy converted up. I still need to do the putty work to add the fur to him. That will make him sort of part of this army in these units, but this is sort of where I am on the 6th guy. I need to finish his basing. So there's this guy, and this guy's based on Bulkhead from Riot Quest, who's one of my favorite Man-O-War characters. And then he's got Mad Hammer's, the head of Mad Hammer's axe, because he's got this belt of grenades, which I thought of as would be cool to do up as sort of like icebreaker. I'm going to paint him glowing white, icy effect, and like this is they're rounds for using his armor penetration hammer. That would be pretty cool. So that's him. I've got a Man-O-War here that has got a this is a Rusk 2's flag repurposed and put onto this guy. It's glued in 2 spots, so it's pretty strong bond. But yeah, so this is that's a pretty fun pose. I've just got a couple of fun models with different things. These are Vlad 2 shoulder pads, which I don't put on my Vlad 2s normally. I actually have another Man-O-War that I have planned that I need to get made at some point. Now that it looks like the Man-O-War Dracoons aren't going to have like impact attacks, and the horse is going to be just going to add speed and not have attacks and things, I thought it would be fun to make a Man-O-War tanker Dracoon, and so I'm sort of working on that. And I think the dismount model is going to have a set of these shoulder pads to sort of make him look a little more sleek and fun. But yeah, so I gotta get this guy done. I got this one. He's just got some cool fur on him. And I wanted to make these guys, and you'll notice that each one of them is sort of painted a little differently than the next one. And I wanted them to look like they were survivors of a bunch of units that fought during Oblivion that have all sort of come together underneath Dragos, which I thought was a pretty cool little bit of fluff. And then here was the original unit sergeant. Very cool model, lots of fur on him. Gotta do some of the same sort of stuff on this guy. Definitely doing some fur to sort of cover up this. I bought this body secondhand, and it had the tabards done wrong. They glued them to the front of it instead of into the body. And so I'm definitely going to cover that joint up with fur and down here, and then do some more on him to sort of make him pop a little bit more, make him a little more interesting. But yeah, this will be the sergeant for one of the units, and this will be the sergeant for the other. Not that they have specific leaders anymore. Alright, so those are the Man-O-War, and so that's the... Khador is my primary army, and I love them. And so I'm very close to getting my whole Man-O-War army finished. I've got a unit of shock troopers, a Dracoon or 2 to do one more tanker, and a chariot. And I'll have almost full of everything painted, which is pretty cool. So lastly, the army that I've been sort of focusing on, if you can't tell from the mercenaries for the last like 3 or 4 weeks, has been mercenaries. And so I've always loved the Flames in the Darkness models, but I've never really been able to get enough of them to be able to play an army of them. And a buddy of mine that's in my meta is in the process of moving. His wife is in the Navy, and she's currently in training in Chicago, but in the after the first of the year, they're going to be transferring to Japan. And so with Mark IV, he didn't think that he was going to be able to use very many of the mercenary models that he had for his Cygnar army. And so he graciously gave me some of his Flame into Darkness stuff. And so I was finally able to get some of the units that was really stopping me from being able to play the army. And so I've started paying them. They're early on, obviously. Like, they just have a gold, but I've got a unit of these, the Resolutes now, which are really cool. I'm definitely going to do some silver and some purple to sort of separate them up. Got to do some basing on them, but I just primed them and did the gold on them yesterday. I've got a unit of 5 of them that I need to work on. I've had Gallant for a long time, and Constance Blaze, she's right here. And so I'm starting to work on them. And so I'm starting with the armor models first, and then I'll sort of work on... I have a Legion of Lost Souls that I got from Corey and some other stuff. And I'm going to sort of get this army painted. I'm hoping that I can get these guys painted the next couple of weeks so that I have some time to work on Pirates, the Man-O-Wars, and a couple of the other projects that I have kicking around. This is the female, the Witch Hunter female. I'm forgetting her name at the moment. She's pretty cool. Her gun, when she hits things, it places it has a 1-inch move place effect to it. Here is Alexia 3. So this is the sort of the Alexia, and I'm keying off the gold. I'm obviously going to tone the gold way down on all these models. They're just barely starting to be based. Here is Gabriel Throne. He is the sort of cavalry officer of the Morrowan. I got to play a game with these guys on Tuesday, and they are really fun. And he is a core piece of that fun. I also have a Morrowan Archon. This one I've had for quite a while, and it hasn't been painted. It's one of the few Archons that I don't have at least some paint on in my collection, and so I'm starting to get him going and get to going with this army. And finally, last but not least, I have these Cygnar Battle Priests, and I have 3 of them here. But so I actually have 1 painted, and I had 2 that were unpainted and a proxy. So I had 4 of my own, and from this deal that I got from my friend for this Morrowan army, he gave me 4 more. So I now have technically own 7, but I can but with proxies I can field 8. I have one of the Morrowan Battle Priest from the IKRPG that's also going to get painted up in the sort of scheme to go with these guys. He's got a sword and mace on the model, so it makes sense. But very, very cool. Also getting painted up and sort of not related to anything this is Linda. She's a Riot Quest model. I need to get her finished. She is the only Infernals model in my large Infernals collection that isn't painted. The only models I don't own are the Gargantuan or the Colossals that got released through Privateer Press's web store, and I don't think I'll probably end up getting them. But I need to get her finished, highlighted. So one of my buddies painted the little statue that's right here. If you can see, let's see if I can if the camera will zoom in. So there's a little statue right here, and he painted it like Mario, and so I need to paint mine like Luigi, which is sort of one of the things that's been holding me up from getting it finished. All right, so then last but not least, and I'm pretty sure I did an update of these guys before, but here's the thing that sort of started my channel, which is the Khador Mark IV guys. So you can see I haven't really done much to them. I've been struggling a little bit with the scheme that I want to do for them. I have a scheme, obviously, for my existing Khador army, and it looks nice, but I want to go a little above and beyond, or go a little different way with these guys. I think I finally sort of figured out what I want to do. And you'll notice that this guy's arms aren't primed. These are the 2 weapons that I had gotten previously that had been, this one was missing and this one was damaged in my box, and so Privateer sent them out to me, and they are great quality and very nice. But yeah, so I think I finally figured this out, and I'm going to be doing a video painting him. Be doing a video painting this direwolf up on my channel over the next, probably sometime here in October. And I'll be showing off that technique and trying it out. It's going to be a departure for me, using a variety of it's effectively doing a zenithal base to paint my colors upon, but doing it in such a way that it creates colorful shades and colorful blacks in the recesses for the shadows. Colorful shadows instead of just sort of like black or gray shadow. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's going to be something new, and you'll have to forgive me. And then I'll probably get this guy painted up in my own time, using the same technique after I try it with the direwolf. And I think I've shown her off before, but this is sort of where I left off with my caster with Baranova, and she's painted in the base coating of my original style of my Khador. She's looking good. She's been base coated and washed, and I need to start highlighting her. I haven't worked on her in a couple of weeks, and I think it's about time I get her finished up this month, because I'm running a demo at the end of the month that I want to have my Khador finished for. Especially now that the Khador, the new 3D printed models have been delayed 6 to 8 weeks due to unpreventable complications. We'll say that for Privateer. If you want more information about it, check out my video that I posted yesterday on the Mk4 information roundup. All right, well, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, everyone that watched my video yesterday and subscribed. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community. I'm on a road to 1,000 subscribers that I need to be able to get my channel monetized so that I can make videos more often. Currently, I'm looking at 1 to 2 videos a week, but hope to start being able to do more as time allows, and getting my channel monetized and will definitely help out with that and allow me to start getting some better equipment to make better quality videos for all of you. If you enjoyed this video, please put a like on it, because that helps me out, lets me know that you like this kind of series and you want to see more miniatures and painting content on my channel. Well, I guess that's it for today. This has been Jay for 24 Hour Miniatures. I'll catch you all later. Bye.